I tell you, this is what I love about Girl Scouts. You know, you say things once and people listen to you. I'm in other meetings where I'm having to, call to attention 10 times before people, but that's what I love about Girl Scouts. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to officially call the meeting to order now. So the 6th annual meeting of the Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan will come to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for the opening flag ceremony, which will be conducted by members of our Girl Advisory Board.
Girl Scouts attention. Color Guard advance. Color Guard, please post the colors. Color Guard, honor your flag. Please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the Girl Scout Promise and Law. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do. To respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Color Guard dismissed.
So they have an awesome mascot and a great sponsor too.
And right behind the clowns are the Girl Scouts, the 3.2 million girls and adults strong, and these are Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan, all who believe every girl can change the world, and that's certainly.
Oh, they are certainly making changes. 100 of them are performing today. They practice with the help of Tina Marie's dance school choreographers for more than 20 hours to make sure they have a perfect routine down for today.
Now, most people know of Girl Scouts because of the traditional cookie program, of course. Yeah, we're big fans of that. Did you know that the Girl Scout cookie sale is the country's largest entrepreneurial and financial literacy program for girls?
I tell you, I watch videos like that, it still gives me chills at just the big impact that this organization makes not only in our community, but certainly in the world. So good morning, everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Nancy Philippart, and I'm honored and proud to be the board chair of this council, and so I am welcoming you all to the 6th annual meeting of the Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan. So first, what I'd like to do is introduce the people that are sitting at our head tables, and I'm going to ask each person to stand as I introduce you. So I'm going to introduce them in order of appearance on the agenda. So first, we have Rhonda Orr, our board secretary, and also she is the chair of our pension committee, which is a lot of work. So welcome to Rhonda. We have our CEO, Denise Dalrymple. We have Rick Sundquist, who is a board member but also chair of the property committee. We have our new chief operating officer, Dara Munson. Our treasurer and chair of the finance committee, Diane Young. Pete Keating, who is a board member and chairs the board development committee. I'm going to introduce over to my right Heather Rivard, and you will be meeting her today. She is our incoming board chair. And then, of course, our parliamentarian, who has served us very, very well for several years, Connie DeFord. I would also like to acknowledge and introduce members of the board of directors that are here today. So again, board members, when I introduce you, if you would please stand. And again, we can recognize all the board members after I introduce all those that are here. So Vonsell Brown Miller, Pete Keating, Elaine Marcotte, Lisa Morse, Doreen Okel, Rhonda Orr, of course me, Nancy Philippart, Heather Rivard, Rick Sundquist, and Diane Young. Oh, and Kathy Ocean is here. I'll be introducing new board members when we get to that point. So now it is time to vote on the credentials report for today's meeting and standing rules, and so I would like to recognize Board Secretary Rhonda Orr.
Good morning. There are 103 voting council members consisting of 20 members of the Board of Directors, 4 members of the Board Development Committee, and 79 council delegates representing their districts. Per our bylaws, the quorum for the annual meeting shall be 25% of the members of the corporation, or 26 members, provided that a majority of the council regions, 46 districts, are represented by at least 1 delegate. We have 25% of the members of the corporation in attendance in a majority of the districts. Present at today's meeting are 68 registered members of the corporation and 37 districts represented by the delegates.
So thank you, Rhonda. The question is on the adoption of the credentials report is just given. So those in favor of accepting the report, please say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, the ayes have it, and therefore the motion is adopted, and there is a quorum present. Rhonda?
Now we will proceed to vote on the meeting agenda and the standing rules. I move that the revised annual meeting agenda as distributed today be adopted. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Okay. The question is on the adoption of the revised annual meeting. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. At this time, I'll move that the standing rules for the annual meeting as shown in the workbook be adopted. Is there a second? Thank you. It is moved and second to adopt the standing rules for the annual meeting. Is there any discussion? The question is on the adoption of the standing rules for the annual meeting. Those in favor will rise. You may be seated. All those opposed? Thank you. There are 2/3 in the affirmative, and the rules are adopted for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda. If there is no objection, Barb Sosin will be appointed head teller for today's meeting. And where is Barb? Is she? Okay, Barb's out in the back. And she's going to be assisted by members of the Girl Advisory Board who will serve as tellers. Okay, since there's no objection, they are hereby appointed. Oh, and would Barb and her assistants please stand so that everybody can see? And girls, you can stand too. Great, thank you very much. So their role is to kind of help keep count of the, as we vote later on in the agenda. Okay. So it has, you know, as that video showed, it has clearly been an exciting year in Girl Scouting. And what I'd like to do is just kind of give you a brief overview of the priorities of the council in the year in review, and then you'll have the opportunity to hear a lot more detail from a number of the other speakers that will be talking to you this morning. But I want to share with you, first of all, you know, we obviously are chartered by GSSEM, and so, you know, our priorities as a council align with what the national priorities are. And this is kind of a busy chart that talks about the priorities from that came out of the first strategic learning process, and at the national level, strategic learning is ongoing, so those are being refreshed. But you can see that clearly for the 2014-2015 years, program year, there are a number of key priorities that come from the strategic learning. And these should not be very surprising to people. Again, it's to continue to focus on engagement, particularly of our core K through 5, because we know that if we can attract girls at that age, we can help to build the organization. Of course, many of you have had direct experience with Digital Cookie, and so it's to continue to help move Girl Scouting into the digital age with more tools that will help to assist both girls and volunteers. We continue to focus on the To Get Her There campaign as a way of getting more participation from the broader community in terms of supporting girl leadership. We know we have a very large alumni network that we want to continue to tap into to support the movement. We also, a big focus of this year, and you'll have a chance to hear some of the girls who actually participated in the convention talk to you directly about that, but you know, that certainly is a big effort and a lot of work. And then finally, as I mentioned, strategic learning. So those are the priorities for the national. And you can see how our GSSEM priorities, again, cascade from those. And we are in the process now, we'll be restarting our strategic learning process, but our priorities for 2014 remain pretty consistent of what they have over the past couple years. First and foremost is, we need to be effective in how we operate and to live within our means while making sure that the resources that we have are allocated towards our core mission of serving girls. And we also have a focus on trying to diversify how those resources come into the council. We have a focus on increasing the use of our national program portfolio while increasing both the numbers of girls that series and events for girls as well as their quality. A big initiative that we are certainly in process in, and I think many of you would say we still have more work to do in this area, is to simplify and amplify services that we provide to volunteers so that your experience as a volunteer can be as smooth and efficient as possible so that you can spend your time and energy doing probably what you really want to do, and that is working with girls. And then communication always in a large organization like ours continues, is always a challenge. And so our focus on trying to continue to improve how we communicate with both volunteers and girls through a variety of mediums. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those very quickly. So under resources, one of the responsibilities of the board is to ensure the careful management of all resources, and that's not just the money that comes into the council. And actually, you'll be hearing in a few minutes from our treasurer, Diane Young, about what that looks like. But we also manage the property. And, as many of you know, we have a lot of property in this council. We also have commitment to the people who have worked and have been the staff of this council. And so there has been a lot of energy this year, thanks to the good work of Rhonda Orr and her committee, on making sure that we are honoring the pension commitments to not only the retirees we have that are currently working, but when we came together and realigned, we had a multitude of legacy pension plans that we had a responsibility to those people that had worked in those legacy councils, for many, many years. And so I am happy to say that our last legacy pension plan that we have been working is about ready to be converted to an annuity, and that will be professionally managed. That will kind of take, we funded that pension, that'll take it off of our books, but in turn ensure that the people who are counting on that pension money in retirement will have that money. We've had to make some difficult decisions. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But again, as I mentioned, we're over-propertied. We have a lot of property. We have way more camps than what we have campers. And so this year the board had to make a very difficult decision to idle Camp Innisfree, to free up money that we were using to subsidize that camp. And despite that, we are still consciously running a deficit budget this year because we need to put resources into preparing for the tools and technology tools that are going to be rolled out in the council. And again, Diane will talk a little more about that. In terms of philanthropy, this is a good news story, and I'm very proud of my fellow board members because board members have secured corporate support and individual gifts for a variety of programs. And in fact, the board has influenced just under 30% of the entire fundraising goal to the tune of over $200,000. We've also instituted the One Tough Cookie Award. I think this is our third year of doing it, and so far we've honored 40 outstanding women from all sectors in the community. And it's a great way to recognize women, but this is also a fun development strategy because then we connect these women to our mission, and then many of them have donated time and resources to further support us. We've been very active in grant funding, and so we're able to procure funding for the Be a Friend First anti-bullying program and have actually been able to increase our corporate support. In terms of programs for girls, council-wide series and events continue to be very strong with over 5,000 girls served. And at the community level, again, these series and events, again, thanks to many of you in the audience, also continue to offer a wide variety of programming opportunities for our girls and again, serving over 8,500 girls in our 12 communities. We also have done a lot of work both with the national and at the local level to reinforce our commitment to girls in the outdoors. A lot of times people think when councils, and we are not unique in this, when we have to close camps, it means that Girl Scouts don't care about the outdoors. And there's been a lot of work done, and I think Dara's going to talk a little bit more about this in her remarks, but our focus here is for more girls to be able to experience the outdoors, often in more local settings, with less cost. And to that end, we brought on board 2 dedicated outdoor education specialists. And new just this year are some programs, again, that can be held right in the local communities in order to encourage girls' participation in the outdoors. Support for volunteers and making it easier for you to do business with us continues to be a main focus. And so we are trying to be more efficient and streamline our processes. This is a big frontier, and you're going to be hearing more about that certainly in the coming year. But one of the things is we have tried to make the whole process of training and orientation more conducive to the lifestyle of busy women, and so that whole process has also been streamlined. And again, one of our commitments, to our volunteer organization is our effort to maintain one of the highest per box troop proceeds from the cookie sale. So we are still, providing $1 a box from the sale to our troops, as well as trying to provide other mechanisms to encourage support during the cookie sale. And as far as communications go, this is always a challenge, no matter how good you are here. But I think we have an outstanding communications team here at the council. And so there has been outstanding media exposure this year for cookies and programs. The video that you saw of the girls marching in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, we do that, of course, because, that is one of the highest events that girls tell us that they love. But look at the wonderful media we got from the announcer, as he was talking through. So those are ways that we can get our message out, so that the community knows that, we are a dynamic and relevant organization that is serving girls and developing leaders. We have very professionally designed and printed materials, and so we're very proud of the progress that's been there. And then I think we have a very robust communications team and process, so that there's lots of ways that communication can reach people through e-newsletters, website, Facebook, Pinterest. And the most important thing here is we're starting to communicate, and I think girls in the audience, you can, say that, at least we're starting now to communicate to you in ways that are relevant to you. And then finally, just a few statistics on communication. We're seeing that there's a lot of traffic and a lot of interest in our communications. You can see, we've had a 21% increase in website views, 40% increase in visitors. We've got over 7,200 Facebook followers and 172,000 plus impressions per month. And this is all organic, no paid advertising. So again, I think we're really trying to use the tools that are out there to put out the message of Girl Scouting. So in summary, kind of the bottom line is this. We, as a council of GSUSA, continue to align our priorities with those of GSUSA. You'll be hearing later today, but we are a strongly supported and fiscally sound organization. And that's really important, because you can't do what you do, if the bottom line of the council is not financially sound. And we are continuing to evolve. You'll hear from the speakers this morning, this is going to continue to be a year of great change. But as we all know, the world is changing at a fast pace. Girls are changing at a fast pace. And if we don't keep up with that change, we will no longer be relevant. So with that, it's going to be an exciting year, but when I look at the year in past, it has certainly been, a lot has been accomplished. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. Okay, well, hearing none, we're going to move on to the next video. And before we do that, I'm just going to say your next speaker will be our illustrious CEO, Denise Dalrymple, and she'll speak after the video.
As a Girl Scout volunteer, it's a rewarding experience for me. When I see their smiley faces, I can't wait to see them graduating from college and saying, my Girl Scout leader made a difference in my life. Girl Scouts have really made a difference with the girls in my troop. One example is one girl was being bullied in school, and her Girl Scout sister spoke up for her. And ever since then, she wasn't bullied anymore. And this girl that spoke up for her was actually one of the shyest girls in the troop.
From when I started as a Girl Scout volunteer, I've seen a lot of growth and change. It not only changes a girl's life, but it changes your life. You feel like you're doing something good for someone else, but you are growing in the process. I went on my first camping trip because of Girl Scouts. So that's one of the most amazing things about being a Girl Scout volunteer. It's transformation for everyone. I can't wait to meet them. I can't wait to sign them up. I can't wait to answer the 1,000 questions that they have about Girl Scouting. I can't wait to take them on their first trip. I just can't wait to see them on a weekly basis. I look forward to it.
You know it when you meet a Girl Scout. A Girl Scout shines, reflecting the confidence her troop has ignited within her. A Girl Scout sees herself in the stars. A Girl Scout raises her hand to lead the experiment. A Girl Scout takes action, investing money from her cookie sale right back into the community. A Girl Scout learns how to build a fire within her own heart. For over 100 years, we have encouraged girls to proudly do anything they set their sights on. At Girl Scouts, we know that when girls are given the opportunity, they change the world. We have the reach and experience to help girls lead everywhere. With your help, girls can build the foundation they'll use to do big things. Together, we can encourage girls to live the kind of healthy, active lifestyle that will create a brighter future for them and for society. Together, we can support programs that create the next generation of scientists and engineers who will find solutions to society's toughest problems. Together, we'll help girls develop the kind of self-esteem and confidence that allows millions of girls to say, I can reach whatever goal I set. I can do anything. Join us and take part in the largest fundraising campaign for girls in history. Together, we will empower girls to reach their full potential. Ready for girls to change the world? To get her there. Invest in girls. Change the world.
Good morning. I'm Denise Dalrymple, and I am privileged to be your CEO. I see a lot of people, a lot of faces here. I see old friends. I see people I hope will be new friends. I had the distinct privilege of being able to meet with the delegates at the pre-delegate meeting, the one prior to this meeting. So there's a lot of stuff in my presentation that many of you will have seen already. But I do want to do something that we did at that last meeting. I'd like you all to stand up and say the Girl Scout promise with me as fast as you can, because we need to inject some energy in this. And you know I'm on a campaign to inject some energy. So let's see if you can keep up. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Thank you. Nancy tells me that was too slow. Okay. Didn't that feel great? Didn't that feel great? We always tend to say that like we're at a funeral or something. Okay, my speech is about challenges and successes. I'm the CEO. I have to do that. I'm going to try to fly through this because there's other people who have got way cooler stuff to talk about than I have to talk about this morning. But let me start with the one that, when I wrote this speech, was the biggest one, and that was the fall sale. The fall sale, man, oh man, that magazine sale, that was just awesome. The product sale, oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. I couldn't even bring myself to put their logo on the slide. You know who I'm talking about, Trophy Nut. But nonetheless, when I take a look at the hard and fast figures, you can see that after a dip in 2013, the fall product sale went up and the per girl average went up. Now, the interesting thing about the magazine sale is that the board has been studying for the last couple of years about whether just to drop the board sale. I mean, the fall magazine sale. Very costly, very intensive. Took the services of 3-4 staff, 3 months trying to get this thing together. It was awful. So this man approached us, the guy from M2 Media. I'll go back to them. We like them. Came back to us. And said, you know what, I can do this. It's going to be all online. The girls get to do this cool thing. They get to develop this icon. They did. It was awesome. And do you know how much staff time it took to set this thing up? About an hour, a couple hours. And so talk about a huge savings in effort. And yes, we sold fewer if you add them all up. But when you add how little profit all of us make on the magazine sale versus how costly it was, this is way better. And so I can wholeheartedly recommend to the board that we continue to do a magazine sale for those troops that are interested in doing it. The other thing you might notice is that in all the materials, I'm trying to get this out to people, the only thing we require of troops to do outside fundraising is that you participate in the cookie sale. The fall sale is optional, period. People do not have to participate in the fall sale if you want to do outside fundraising. This is purely optional. But we are trying to make the cookie sale so much easier and so much fun and have a lot more places for people to sell cookies that we want it to be worth your while. Okay, moving on. Successes and challenges. Boy, it was great. We got so much media on this whole digital cookie thing, and man, people tried to sign up for it, and wow, what a disaster that was. But GSUSA turned it around, I think, and we'll have a talk about this. We got so much positive media about digital cookie, and yet there were really not that many girls that participated in it this particular year. One of the things I think that people got confused about is that unlike many other Girl Scout things, this is not troop leader driven. The parents have to sign the girls up because the parents have to give the girls permission because of the federal laws related to girls being on the internet. You have to have parents' permission for girls that are 12 years old and under. So, and that's a little new thing for us. We're accustomed to operating, kind of taking it all over for the parents. And then here I said is that the cookie sale looks like it might be, but we were thinking about maybe having to extend the sale. We're not. We're not extending the sale. And we'll talk about that. I might as well talk about that now. We budgeted this year the exact same number of cookies to sell as we did the year before. We are going to do that. Despite the shortages, despite the bad weather in Kentucky, despite the lack of Thin Mints, despite it all, we are going to meet our budget goals this year. And I'm telling you, I think that is a miracle. It is a miracle. Thank you very much. It just tells you how resilient Girl Scouts are. And so ignore the slide. Looks like we're going to meet it. Like I said, I wrote this a week and a half ago. All right. But in the last week and a half ago, I said that our girl membership was about flat. Our girl membership is not flat. Our girl membership is down almost 4%. And our adult membership is down over 5%. Now, part of this, I think, is the tradition of people believe that they can be in Girl Scouts without joining. I know we've done reports. We have a couple hundred girls selling cookies who are not GSUSA members. We have troop leaders who are running troops that are not GSUSA members. And I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, we really need people to step up and pay for that membership. That's coming from the CEO. It's kind of not fair for people not to pay those memberships. And you know what? If all those people did join, then pay their membership, then our membership numbers wouldn't look as bad as they look. I'm just saying. All right. And the other thing I'm very, very proud of, this is a council-wide retention rate, and this was as of, again, a week and a half ago. That continues to climb as we go on. But right now, our adult membership retention rate is pushing 68%. And if you remember when we were at the, did I put that slide in there? No, I did not. When we were at the delegate training, I pointed out to you that in 2004, was it 10 years ago? Yeah, the retention rate was about 45% council-wide. And so I understand that people aren't happy with some of the changes, but there's a lot enough people that are happy with the changes, that people come, they like us, they stay. They're staying with us. Our issue is we need more adults. We need more adults. Now, here's a new one. I had fun doing this one. We're going to go and delve into the national a little bit. You know, usually I show you that slide. It shows the lines. It shows the national and us, and, you know, that depressing thing that goes down. The stuff I'm going to show you is even more depressing. What this is the membership change from year to year. Okay, so in 2012 to 2013, GSUSA had a 6.24% drop. We had an 8.5% drop. The next year, though, we addressed it. We're coming back, but the national still had a big drop, and then the year after that, this year to date, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Membership around the country, people are getting pretty alarmed about this. I was called on by I forget, the News of the Free Press or somebody, to make a comment because there had been national stories about the membership drop. And I was very careful to say, you know, Girl Scouts is growing in many parts of the country, and that's what I focused on. But between you and me, we have issues here. This is the bad news. This is the bad news. Now, I looked at this on yesterday morning, but of course all of these presentations are well printed by then. It's gotten slightly better than this, but not much. The one council that had between a 25 and a 30% drop, they're now up to like a 24% drop. So that's a little bit of an improvement. But the councils that have, I can't see it from here, but the number of councils that are, am I nearsighted or what? I mean, look at me. Are you having trouble reading these? These are very small. These are really very small. If you email me, I will email you. No, that's okay. I have glasses. I spent a lot of money for these trifocals. Let's see. All right. Instead of 21 councils that are 5 to 10% below, there are about 26, and there's about 20 that are between 10 and 15%. It's not good. It's not good. And then if you take a look at what's happened from 2 years ago, that's pretty alarming. And so you can see that at the national level, people are kind of freaking out. Now, I will tell you that, again, I think many councils have not fully absorbed the merger. I think we've done a pretty good job. There are still councils out there that are still continuing to fight about property. And that is something that we have, I'm not saying it's been easy, but that's something that we have really had to struggle with. The National's response to this is this. Now, you'll see a couple of either the National calls it the Customer Engagement Initiative, and we call it the Customer Engagement Platform. It's kind of the same thing. For them, the Customer Engagement Initiative includes the I Can't Wait campaign and some other stuff that they do. For us, the Council Initiative Platform really is the Salesforce-based new database management and membership system and the volunteer toolkit. Dara's going to talk about this. This is now Dara's baby. Michael Baird has been our project lead, and Dara is our business lead, and now this is Dara's baby. But you'll see here what they're talking about: continuing that campaign, and then trying to do more marketing and helping volunteers understand that it's really, we can have fun in Girl Scouts. But then the other major issue has to do with staffing. Our problem with our staffing is that we're having repeated membership turnover. That means that people are responsible for recruitment. It's hard. That can be very hard. And also, as we get more technological, our staff do not have the skills to manage all of the databases. And we've had that issue here, that we have to find the staff that can manage the databases. To make it simple for you on the front end, it has to be much more technically sophisticated on the back end. We can't run this place on 3x5 cards anymore. We're too big. I might also mention that the average tenure, the average length of stay of CEOs nationally now, how long do you think that is? The average length of stay of CEOs at Girl Scouts now? 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. I'm not having as much fun as it looks. I just have, I'm telling the board members, my evaluation's coming up this summer. I'm doing a great job. All All right, one of the things I'm very proud of, although it's been very painful, is having to balance the budget. And basically, I've had to balance the budget by slashing and burning the number of staff. It's just that simple. Today, or at least a week and a half ago, we had about 65 staff. I think I budgeted for about 70. We've got positions that we haven't filled. And so we have balanced the budget, but, you know, I've had to be very parsimonious when it comes to staffing, and we've had to then really ended up closing Innisfree, which was very painful for all of us. But we were able to add the specialized staff for the customer engagement program, platform program that we have now. But the challenge of that is we added the staff, but then we fell off the queue. GSUSA fell behind, and we're not able to implement that until April. I think that was just as well because we're able to get folks really understanding how Girl Scout works. We had to develop a thing called a knowledge base, which means every question you could think about as Girl Scouts. We started out with 1,600 questions. So this knowledge base means everybody in the organization could go there to get questions about how things work. I think Matt, we're down to about 1,200 questions. Ivankia, that was your Ivankia Jenkins. Matt Matthews, if you would stand up, he's our director of I'll introduce them all in a minute. Troop Support, Ivankia Jenkins is our director of public relations. This has taken up a lot of work this year, and Dara's going to speak about this. But the point of the knowledge base is so that when you call the council offices, you should get the same answer when you talk to the different people. That's really the plan. Our mission delivery, I'm very pleased about how we're organized. I'm thrilled about being able to snag Dara Munson. It took me a year to talk her into it, and then finally she came, and we are thrilled that she is here. One of my challenges is that two of our really long-term great guys, Mike Vore, who was our chief administrative officer, after 42 years at Girl Scouts, he said, you know, I need to do something else. And so Mike is staying on with us as a consultant working with IT because that's the stuff that he loves. But here's a guy who started with Girl Scouts when he was 18 years old, worked as a ranger, and worked his way up until he was at Girl Scouts Metro Detroit. He was the chief operating officer. So 42 years later. Then, I don't know if you guys know Bill Sengstock, boy, funny, jolly guy, our facilities guy. What a wonderful person. I'm going to miss him greatly, but he also was going on to a reduced schedule and only working with property. And that is because with those two guys leaving, then we have Denise Minnelletti now, who is in charge of both the retail sales and the product sales. The whole camp operation is being folded in under Renee Allen. Renee, raise your hand. Renee is responsible for community and outdoor education. While I'm here, can I have the other directors that are here, if they'd stand up so that I can introduce them as well? Where are you guys? Come on, stand up. I have Ruth Zamorowski, who is our Director of Recruitment. We have Dan Gallin, who is affectionately known as our new guy. The new guy came. We flooded the office. Flooded. I'm trying to. Why did we hire you? It was disaster after disaster. Anyway, with the retirement of Darlene Johannesson. You can see his title there, but he's basically the data guy. Then we have Denise Minnelletti, who is our Chief Financial Officer, Amanda Kramer, Director of Product Sales, Barb Sosin, who is the Director of Council Programs and Partnerships, Tiffany Griffin, who is the head of this new thing called Recruitment Services, and Dara will speak to that. And then, of course, my, Yvonne, can you stand up again? You can. Director of Public Relations, and then we have Angela Benitez, who is our Director of Human Resources, keeps me out of trouble, and then we have Matt Matthews. And if you would join me in a round of, I forgot. Oh, and there's Michael Baird, the tall guy, the big guy. All right, let's give them a round of applause. The man behind the curtain. We've had a heck of a year this year. Then I want to talk about the social issues, good stuff. The Catholic Church, finally, the 2.5 years, the bishops studied this. They came out. They decided that we are not we don't contradict the teachings of the church, but they still have cautions about the World Association of Girl Scouts and Girl Guides, because that organization, some of them do take positions on birth control, which is not the Catholic Church has very clear doctrine on that. But this year, for the first time ever, we really didn't get the negative media. We got some people, but we did not get the negative media that we often get from people about Girl Scouts. Both on our website and on the national website, it's very easy to find the truth, the facts, the things that are really true about us. There was a time, hard to believe, about 3-4 years ago, I was spending probably 1 day a week on this, and now this is all set up. But here's the downside, is that Girl Scout Research Institute did a study of this, and the impact on our girls is really awful. Adults just will say just the most horrendous things. They'll come up to girls. And so that's why I always like to warn leaders about this so that you're prepared, so that you can prepare our girls. It's pretty awful what adults will come up and say. All right, I talked about this at length in January, so I'm going to buzz through these slides, and if you haven't gotten those, if you want the full presentation, I'm happy to send it to you. I've been invited to speak out to speak at district meetings. I was told that my presentations are very clear and precise, and I thought I was ranting and raving, but apparently people think that I'm clear and precise. But the fact is, people aren't willing to pay what it costs, and it is costly. It is costly, but people are not willing to pay. There's too many other things that people are interested in doing. And then the next couple of slides have to do with the arduous process that the board went through, the meetings after meetings, and that's just in the last couple of years. Talking about camps, I think it's been every year since we merged. Here's some of the highlights of what the board did, but basically the issue is we have a broken business model. We're investing all this money in camps, and we have very few girls coming to the camps. And yet we can't imagine Girl Scouts. Can't imagine Girl Scouts without an emphasis on the outdoors. Forgive me for telling you the story. Nobody could love camping more than I do. I travel across the United States in a pump tent with my college roommate, Suzanne Johnston, the late Suzanne Johnston. I love camping, but the numbers don't lie. So then we talked about what it would take to break even. And so we went through the various expenses and, Innisfree, Hawthorne Hollow, the rest of the other camps. And so we figured out that we would either have to triple the prices or we'd have to triple the number of attendees. If we tripled the prices, would we have these people come? No, they would not. And realistically, are we going to triple the number of attendees? No, we are not. So we have to come to a very, very hard decision. And so for this next year, we are going to continue to subsidize Hawthorne Hollow. And of course, we have Camp Playfair. Camp Playfair is easy. It's small. We don't have to have people there living there year round. We only they're only open about 90 days a year, and yet we have to pay for 365 days a year, and so on and so forth. When I say that if we built it, they didn't come. Over the years, Girl Scouts has said, "Wow, well, girls aren't coming, so let's build indoor showers." Well, they're not coming, so let's do indoor toilets. Oh, they're not coming, so let's do a climbing wall. Oh, they're not coming, let's build bigger lodges. So we've gotten ourselves into this problem where we have these highly developed camps. You heard the story. I told you this. I'm not going to go on and on about it. So here's the sequence of events. We went through a very arduous process in finding good homes for the horses. Many of you may know that in a previous life, I was the administrator of the largest child adoption agency in Michigan. So that helped me bring a little expertise. I wanted home studies. I got them. I needed references. We needed to know who the doctor was. These horses were well placed with new people. And then we converted. I was very pleased. We were able to retain the director of Innisfree and the director of the Equestrian Center as our outdoor education specialists. And so again, our focus is more girls, more local, less cost, and how do we get more girls outside? And so that is going to be our focus in the coming year. We started it this year, although we weren't able to really truly close the camps until in December, beginning of January. But this is going to be our future focus. And then finally, Heather, where are you? Heather, turn that hat on, would you? I want people to see. I didn't realize Heather was going to wear it. The upside downside of the National Convention, there was no downside. We had a wonderful time. I think I see Suzanne. Did Suzanne get here? Suzanne Banty? No, Suzanne didn't come. Suzanne Banty and Chris Krasinski, I think between the two of them, they helped figure this out. We had a party. The delegates created these hats at one of our preparation meetings, and we got to walk in as a group wearing that cool hat with them flashing. That was pretty cool. People knew we were there. We were there from southeastern Michigan. So that is the formal end of my speech. Do people have any questions? Is there anything you want to ask me? You know I would stand up here all day. Okay, the offer stands. Seriously, I'm very happy to come out and speak to your girls. I had somebody just come up to me at this meeting and ask if the girls could come and visit me in my office. Happy to do it. Don't invite me if you don't want me to come, because chances are I will say yes. So with that, I'm going to stop now and say thank you very much.
So thanks very much, Denise. Again, isn't she a terrific leader? Okay, and next on our agenda is I'd like to introduce Rick Sundquist, who is board member and chair of the Property Committee, and he'll be talking a little bit more expansively about property. Rick?
Good morning, Girl Scouts. Right. I'm always amazed to see all the people that show up here on a Saturday morning, and we have a quorum each time. And each year, I've done this for 6 years for this council. I wonder, as legal counsel, what if we didn't get a quorum? What would happen? But we have a parliamentarian. I figured, well, she'll figure it out. So I'm. Yeah, I think that is the option. So thanks a lot for coming. I am chair of the property committee, but the chair cannot run this committee all by himself. I have a fantastic crew, Lisa Morse, Sarah Pobosic, Carol McConnell, and our newest member, Jemanda Jude. Sarah is doing a little extra special stuff for us. She just had a baby daughter. So she's increasing the ranks for Girl Scouts in the future. So none of us, the rest of us, have done that recently. So we're happy. Jemanda, on the other hand, she's one of the finest real estate appraisers in the state of Michigan, and so we are extremely happy to have her as part of our group. So if you have any appraisal questions or appraisal problems or projects, here we go. Part of our job is to manage the real estate resources of the council. We have 5 camps, we have 5 offices, we have a ton of money invested in our facilities. At the same time, we are charged with managing these properties in a financially prudent manner. And that's extraordinarily difficult because we have Denise to deal with. And she says, and it's not her fault, it's just that she tells us that we need to manage our properties properly. And so as a group, we have to take these projects on, analyze it, and make recommendations to the board. And through the year, we've had to make a number of difficult recommendations. We've done that, though, with the help of Bill Senstock. You've heard that he is retired or reduced schedule. He's our go-to guy, and is he here today? Well, he can't retire because I'm not going to do it all. Bill is a royal pain in the backside. He calls me probably every single day. We have contracts to deal with. We have property issues to deal with. We have people calling up. We have brokers to deal with. But he is a fantastic individual. He's really good at his job. And if he were here, I'd ask for all of you to give him a round of applause. But anyway, we held all sorts of meetings, May, July, August, February of this year. As Denise mentioned, you saw in the prior slide, we had some tough decisions to make for Innisfree. Consequently, the property committee was very busy listening to everything and debating all of the issues. And ultimately, we had to come up with some tough recommendations. One of those was to, with hold back on making any substantial improvements to Camp Hawthorne Hollow. We were looking at building some new troop houses and camping facilities. It would have cost $400,000 or $500,000, but we had to take a step back, and the board asked us to take a step back. And so ultimately, we decided that now was not the time to spend that kind of money. We didn't have the girl usage at that facility, and so we had to make the tough decision. That's not to say it'll never happen. It's not to say it will happen, but we had to make that tough decision and save $400,000 or $500,000. But fortunately, we still have Camp Hawthorne Howard and Camp Playfair. It's incumbent upon all of you to use these properties. The more you use it, the easier it is for the board to make the decision to keep these properties. Each year I say that, and just do it. Next slide, please. Many of you may be aware that we used to own a camp called Camp Timbers up in Traverse City. It's actually Long Lake Township. We sold that property a couple years ago. I am pleased to report that Long Lake Township has officially taken title. The state of Michigan, through its land trust program, contributed over 75% of the purchase price, which we received. And the camp property is now open. There was a big celebration in July of this past year. I attended, and there were dozens of Girl Scouts, former Girl Scouts and adults who attended from the Flint Council. Is there anybody that's here today that, okay, fantastic. They were honored at this program for having contributed money and helping with the Conservancy to raise additional funds. One unique thing is they served champagne at this celebration, and it's the first time, I'm told, that alcohol has ever been served at a Girl Scout property. Officially. So, anyway, thanks everybody for that helped with that project. What we can be pleased with, it's properties being put to a good use. It's open to the public. It's not going to be developed by developers, so we can be proud of that. You've already heard that Camp Innisfree was idled. The horses have been distributed. Sorry, they found a home, is what they. That probably was the most difficult part of the process, because many people were concerned. Of course, we were concerned with the safety of the horses. They have all found good homes. We have some interest expressed in the south 650 acres by the state of Michigan. We're in some preliminary negotiations. The north third would include the horse facilities and the banquet hall and so forth. Anyway, that's a topic that we'll probably be talking about later this year or next. We also, next slide please, Camp O'Fairwinds. We spent an extraordinary amount of time this year talking about Camp O'Fairwinds. It's been idle since 2009. The condition of the property, frankly, had deteriorated. There was a lot of work that had to be done even prior to 2009, which money did not allow. So we as a board voted to demolish all the structures on the property. Top of that, we had an auction sale which netted us $48,000, which reduced the cost of demolition. In order to bring the property back up to speed, would have cost probably in excess of $800,000 to $900,000. Most of the buildings did not meet current codes, and ultimately we are over property, and that's the decision we had to make. 60 acres adjoining the lake are subject to a reverter clause. The original grantor of the property, Mrs. Bishop, put in there that if we were to ever cease use of the property, which actually we have not yet, the property would revert. We've been in discussions with the Bishop heirs as to how to deal with this property. So next meeting, you'll probably hear some more about that. This was the one fun and interesting project for the year. We were able to negotiate location agreement for the filming of Batman Superman. Dara, the man behind the screen, some of the girls were able to attend some filming at the property. And in that event, we were able to earn, I think, somewhere in the vicinity of $60,000. What I found out last week is that the Boy Scout camp was also in the running for this project, and so we beat them out. And so, Michael was an extra in the movie, so he does have some photographs, and he'll be signing those afterwards. So the property has been returned back to its original condition. I have to say that Crown Pictures lived up to their word. They were good stewards of our property, and we would be more than happy to do that again sometime. While this is the end of my discussion, I would like to say something else. It's a little sad, but we have two super people who are retiring from the board. Nancy Philippart, who I've worked with for 10, 12, 13 years, and Lisa Morris. Lisa's been part of the property committee. I first met Lisa in 2008 as part of the council realignment committee. What I learned in that committee, and when I first met Lisa, was she was not afraid to speak her mind. And, and that's why she's been so good with the property committee. We have been blessed with the leadership of these two people. We've also had other wonderful board members, but these are two very, very special people, and I'd like for you all to thank them. Any questions? Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rick. And again, I think you can see that, I mean, the property committee and the kind of expertise of the people that we have on that committee has really served this council well. This has probably been one of the most difficult, contentious, and in many cases, heartbreaking issues for us. But I do think that this team has done excellent work, and we are making good decisions, even though they are tough. So next, I want to introduce our new Chief Operating Officer, Dara Munson. Dara.
Good morning. I have to say, I'm really fascinated by all the various ways that you've tied your Girl Scouts ties. So I am taking mental note of the options that I have available to me. I am really happy to be here with you. As Denise said, I've been here for just about 8 months now, and what a blast it has been. I previously was president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and just continued to be honored to serve my community by supporting young people, and now specifically by supporting girls. So I am very, very happy to be here. I will share a little bit with you today about our national program portfolio. Some information on our outdoor education, our council-wide series, and also our community-level series. We talked a little bit earlier about outdoor education, and with regards to the national office, Girl Scouts USA provides a plethora of information and support to the field. Most recently, they did a report called More Than S'mores: Successes and Surprises in Girls' Outdoor Experiences. And they looked at a variety of issues affecting girls and them getting outdoors, and ultimately came to the conclusion that will not surprise any of you. The girls benefit immensely from time spent outdoors, but it's not always easy for them to get out there. And in fact, this was echoed by a girl delegate at the Triennial Convention in Salt Lake City in October. That's one of the things that she said at the microphone, was that, yes, she enjoys being outdoors, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the ability and the options to get outdoors are not always available to her. So as we look at what's provided by Girl Scouts USA, One of the things that I continue to look to as a resource is the Girl Scouts Research Institute. And you see the priorities of GSRI, which we look to quite often. And actually, GSRI provides information and data, as you might suspect, that helps to educate some of the changes that we make at the council level, and of course, changes for the good. And here are just some options, some ideas of what GSRI has provided recently by way of research. Some of the publications about how Girl Scouts benefits girls. There's one of my favorites, The State of the Girl, Unfinished Business, information on STEM, and again, outdoors. And as we think about how we will go forward with the work that Denise talked about earlier with regards to girls and outdoor education, this slide just shares with you some additional supports and information that are coming down from Girl Scouts USA. Our volunteer toolkit, which you'll hear about later, will include a venture out aspect. We are looking forward to a simplified safety activity checkpoint manual. Of course, new outdoor and camp marketing toolkit and campaign information. Of course, we always want more Girl Scout swag. So, of course, outdoor themed Girl Scouts merchandise. And one really exciting aspect of what GSUSA has done here recently is created the new Girls' Choice outdoor badges. And so I have some new information hot off the press for you. And these the Girl Choice badges were just announced. And they are for Brownie, Outdoor Adventurer, for Junior, Horseback Riding, for Cadets, Archery, for Seniors, Paddling, and for Ambassadors, which, you know, I'm going to go back to being an ambassador because their badge is the Ultimate Recreation Challenge. And I think that is so, so cool. This process, I should note, has been girl-led throughout, and girls have had the opportunity to vote on the badge designs up until yesterday. The badge designs themselves will be announced March 25th, and they will be available for digital download in June, and physical badges will be available in council shops in August. So you can see it from the national perspective how serious Girl Scouts is about getting the girl voice on the table as we look at outdoor education. So taking what is provided by GSUSA and bringing it to the local level, you heard a little bit earlier about the work that we are doing in outdoor education. And of course, again, this work is led by Renee Allen, who you met earlier. We've developed this new department focused on outdoor education and community and outdoor education events and series. And this department does a yeoman's job of a ton of work. But what's really exciting is Renee and her team are really dedicated and focused on creating partnerships with businesses and organizations that align with the mission of Girl Scouts and have a dedicated focus on the outdoors. So in addition to camp, which we all know is critical, from our perspective, outdoor education leverages what we know to be true about what girls receive at camp, but also provides them with additional opportunities to get outdoors. So look for more in our program year. For another aspect of our national program portfolio, I'm very excited to share with you for our awards. We had in 2014 110 silver awards, 12 gold awards, and a really wonderful young lady who you'll hear from later today. Our 2014 Young Woman of Distinction was Jacqueline Casario. Please give her a round of applause. She is here in the front row. And also, Jacqueline recently received a Certificate of Excellence from Prudential Spirit of Community. So we are very happy to have you, Jacqueline, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing from you. We'll also share a little bit of information with you today about Camp Moxie, our Hispanic initiative, our first robotics program, and a little bit about our Thanksgiving, our participation in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. So you can think of Camp Moxie as a week-long leadership boot camp. It is really, really exciting, and it's held at Camp Hawthorne Hollow for girls in grades 8 through 12. It's in partnership with the Michigan Women's Foundation and the Women Officials Network. In 2014, 91 girls attended, and I do have to say speed mentoring was a favorite, and you'll see a photo of our board chair, Nancy Philippart, participating in speed mentoring with 2 of the girls. And it really, really is a fun time in August for all of our young ladies. In addition, we have our Hispanic initiative. Through that, we served just around 1,000 Hispanic girls council-wide. And I'm going to practice my Spanish here. They participated in 3 key initiatives. Dia de los Niños, which is the Day of Child Literacy. One of the photos you see here is our participation in the Cinco de Mayo parade, which we had over 60 girls walking with GSSEM, and our Yo Puedo Ser program, which is our I Can Be career exploration program. Also last year was our first time partnering with First of Michigan, so we participated in the first robotics expo as a part of our STEM initiative. We had 12 Junior First Lego League teams for girls in grades K through 3rd, and 1 First Lego League team for girls in grades 4 and 5. The good news is this year we are seeing just about a 100% increase in the number of teams that we are having participate in the Junior First Lego League, and I think that deserves a round of applause because that shows that we are determined to let girls explore careers that they probably would not otherwise explore in a way that is very, very creative. And we know that during these developmental years, they are learning things that they will carry for them for the rest of their lives. So the photos you see here are of 2 of our teams. The theme last year was Disaster Blaster. And our teams had to do research and build a scene that shows the before, during, or after stage of a natural disaster. So the larger photo you see is one of girls building a volcano, and the second one you see is girls building forest fires. Very, very exciting. Of course, we don't want them to really build forest fires. We want them to be the antithesis of forest fires, but they definitely serve their purpose for the expo. And then again, you see our participation in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was very, very exciting, and the video was fantastic, but I do have to say that we won Best Choreographed Unit 3 years in a row, which is outstanding. And so perhaps I'll get outdoors and practice with our girls when they do the parade this year. Probably won't, but it's a nice thought. So a little bit about the work internally. Our recruitment team, led by Ruth Zamorowski, who you met earlier, really focuses on getting people involved in Girl Scouts, and not just involved, but engaged. I think we can all agree that we want girls and adults to belong to Girl Scouts and not just participate in Girl Scouts. New this year for our recruitment team is an event called Get to Know Girl Scouts. We had just about 1,300 attendees between October and present day. We are really focusing on our volunteer connection, making sure that our recruitment specialists are really in partnership and hopefully partnership and friendship with their troop organizers and troop organizer coaches, because we know that our increase in membership means more girls and ultimately more adults to serve them. And so that is the work of our recruitment department. In troop support, which is led by Matt Matthews, who you also met earlier this morning, this is the team that provides support to just under 2,000 troops. They are focused also on volunteer training, and you heard a little bit about our interest and work around making training work for you, which means our suite of offering will include everything from in-person training to online training to video training. We really want the need and transportation and the need to show up to training not to be a barrier, so we want to provide it in a way that all volunteers can receive and in the dosage that they need it, right? So what do you need to be a troop leader? We want you to have that at your fingertips. And then as things progress, we're looking at that as well. So right now, volunteer orientation is available online, and we've just completed outdoor camping, trip and camp readiness, which is also available online. This is the team that also oversees volunteer relations. So in volunteer relations, basically what we are looking at is conflict resolution. And you'll see here, since 2013, when this volunteer relations position was created, 152 cases have been opened, 140 have been closed. Currently, we have 12 open cases, and the average number of days of open cases is 11.3. The average close rate is 29 days. You'll see here where we get referrals for volunteer relations, and also the breakdown of the types of cases that we're looking at between conflict, broken procedure, and a small percentage is around training and education. Exciting news is, I think I'm missing a slide here. Here it is. The exciting news is 62% of our cases are resolved with all parties remaining in place, which is outstanding because people come to Girl Scouts because they know and love it, and we want them to stay in the positions that they volunteered or were appointed to. Regardless of whatever conflict they experience, we want them to remain in places as long as, again, we're not looking at some of the issues around broken procedure, right, or child safety or girl safety. So 62% of cases closing with all members remaining in place is a really, really good thing to be celebrated. More achievements for our events and series. Last year, by 9/30/2014, we had just over 42,000 people attending events, series, trainings, camps, and programs for girls and adults. We exceeded that estimate of 42,000 for 2014, which was up 36,000 attendees in 2013. So we are very excited to see that growth in numbers, and I am very happy to report that as of February 28th of this year, we had over 18,000 attendees, and we are actually on track to exceed 55,000 attendees in these event series, trainings, and camp programs for this program year. So that lets you know what Renee and her team and Barb are really focusing on by getting high quality programs in front of our members. Another exciting thing that you've heard about a little earlier today is our Customer Engagement Initiative, which is what it's called at the national level. Locally, we're calling it the Customer Engagement Platform. You see here our staff alignment, a new business model. We've done process mapping. We have a new web platform and a new volunteer toolkit. You've met the directors in this department, and I'm speeding because I'm getting towards my time. This new business model, which you've seen this also, ultimately our bottom line is to have this technological tool that allows us to serve you, the volunteer, better. We are planning to go live in mid-April. We'll be migrated into the new system the weekend of April 10th, and so the weekend after that, you will feel us live in volunteer, in our new volunteer systems. Our new website, which you've seen, provides the similar experience for any customer across the country. Again, is from GSUSA. And the reason we're doing all this is to get your year plan in your hands as troop leaders, as volunteers for girls, so that you have digital access to your year plan. You see the features here of the new volunteer toolkit. We are planning our re-registration to begin May 4th. After you re-register, you will have access to your volunteer toolkit. And I have a quick video to show you that highlights the volunteer toolkit.
Welcome to the Volunteer Toolkit. This toolkit will help you have a fun and successful year with your troop. This is how you use it. To find the Volunteer Toolkit, go to your council's website and select the Sign In or My GS link. Got your login credentials? Enter them here. When you log into the Volunteer Toolkit, you'll see year plan options available for you and your troop. Your choices, the girls' choices, fall into two basic categories: badges and journeys. Skim through the year plans and get to know them. Your first two troop meetings will explore both options. The girls will probably have some questions. Each year plan is populated with 15 meetings in a default order. Click a meeting to see its details. The Year Plan tab is where you'll customize your troop's Girl Scouts year. This is where you'll be able to manage your entire calendar, including meeting locations and activities. Now let's review the functionality within the Meeting Plan tab, an area that allows you to view the details within each individual meeting, plus meeting aids and resources that are there for you to use. Selecting Overview in the meeting plan gives you a quick description of the meeting you're viewing. The activity plan details each of the meeting's activities. The materials list tells you exactly what you need for that meeting. It's best to look at this before you meet with the girls. Select Year Plan and then Reveal returns you to the Year Plan library, where you can go back and take a look at the other year plan options.
So that's just part one of the Volunteer Toolkit video. And again, the purpose of the Customer Engagement Platform and Volunteer Toolkit is for us to serve you better so that you as volunteers can serve your girls better. So I thank you for your time. Any questions? Thank you. And so the team you met earlier today is really the one that is pulling everything together. If you can imagine taking data and records for 35,000 members to transfer them to this new system is really a big feat. And so we're looking forward to being able to serve you with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara. And again, that's just a quick peek at, just some of the exciting tools that are coming. I couldn't help but think in that video that when they said, make sure it would be good to do it before the girls, I was thinking that they should have also added, if you're stuck on something, then be sure to ask the girls to help you. So you got lots of tremendous resources there. So now it is my pleasure to introduce to you some of, we have 4 girls that attended the 2014 National Convention last October in Salt Lake City. And it was an amazing experience for all of us. And so we have asked 4 of our girls to come and share with you some of their experiences. And so our first speaker today is Heather Gregory, and she is wearing the signature GSSEM hat. And Heather, if you'd come up and share some of your experiences.
Hello, my name is Heather Gregory. I'm an Ambassador Scout. I have been a Girl Scout since Daisies. Going to Utah as a girl delegate was a Girl Scout experience of a lifetime. Being with all the other delegates, it was like being with a big group of Sister Scouts. The best part of the trip was when we arrived at Convention Center. And Anna Maria Chavez and Connie Lindsay walked in, and they were so excited to see our bright green flashing hats and wanted to try them on. Getting my picture with the CEO and the president of Girl Scouts USA was the best souvenir from convention. I really didn't know what to expect at convention, except that we would be voting on important issues for the whole Girl Scout membership. I felt my voice could be heard and I could make a difference. Being in the convention hall and hearing all the speakers was very motivating. I really enjoyed the 10 Women of Distinction. Their Gold Awards projects really changed lives. I was very impressed. My favorite thing to do at convention was go into the Hall of Experiences, seeing all the vendors shopping, doing crafts, and playing games, and sampling all the new cookies. I could have spent days in there. Okay. Another fun thing to do at convention is to swap. I brought about 60 swaps and enjoyed swapping with people including Anna Marie Chavez and Connie Lindsay. They handed out patches for their swap. I also received some swaps from Alaska and Canada too. What I really learned at convention when hearing Anna Maria Chavez's story and some of the other speakers is that no matter who you are, you can make a difference in the world. It made me feel really good and want to come home and get started on my gold award. If I have any advice after going to convention is this: I want everyone in this room right now to raise your right hand and make the Girl Scout promise. Sign and make the commitment to take their troop or their daughter to go to the 54th National Girl Scout Convention in 2017 at Columbus, Ohio. I know I will be there. I will, as a Girl Scout alumni with all my sister scouts. I can't wait.
Thank you so much, Heather. And our next speaker is Addison Mock.
Thank you. As Nancy said, my name is Addison Mock. I'm currently a freshman at Loyola University Chicago and a lifetime Girl Scout member. I want to first say what an honor it was for me to represent Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan at this convention and to be a national delegate. I felt I had an opportunity to use my voice to impact the future of the Girl Scouting movement, which is something I care deeply about. The National Council sessions introduced me to the business side of the nonprofit world that I one day hope to work in. The sessions also gave me a unique perspective into the structure of the Girl Scouting program, as I have now experienced the Girl Scouting program on all levels, national, council, and troop. It was very interesting to see how the discussions and initiatives at the national level turn into programs that the councils put into place and that the troops then participate in. I come from a bit of a different perspective on the national convention than the other girls speaking today, as I attended as a young adult delegate. My friend Phoebe and I, both of us freshmen in college, were in a bit of a middle ground as far as the activities that were offered because of our age, and we chose to attend a lot of the drop-in sessions that were offered. Our favorites were the Conversations of Consequence, which were panel discussions, each based on a different theme, such as faith, diversity, and leadership. They each featured a diverse group of women from many fields and many walks of life. Panelists included former First Lady of Massachusetts Ann Romney, global activist Dr. Tara I. Trent, and National Public Radio host Michelle Norris. The women discussed the importance of women helping women and the benefits of finding mentors to support each other, as well as the importance of seeking out and appreciating diversity. I was most inspired by the way they discussed their failures and their struggles, and how they use them as stepping stones for further growth and as opportunities to learn and come back stronger. I also was incredibly motivated by the fact that these women never hesitated to do anything because of their gender. I very much believe that because I learned leadership in an all-girls setting through Girl Scouts, where I was given support and encouragement as opposed to someone to compete, as opposed to being given someone to compete with, that I was prepared to go into leadership positions and never have the mindset that I was any less than that of the men that I was leading with. I'm currently taking a sociology of gender course in school, and I'm learning about the systems that hold women back in the way society approaches female leaders. And I just keep thinking about these women that I met at convention and heard speak and how they never let these systems stop them. They didn't do what society says women should do, but did what they felt they were capable of through hard work and determination, what Girl Scouting told these women they could do. They became effective leaders and loving mothers and never let their gender stop them. Phoebe and I also had the honor of meeting GSUSA CEO Ana Maria Chavez. Her passion for supporting girls and furthering the Girl Scout movement was so clear and so inspiring and made me want to consider exploring further leadership in the Girl Scout movement in the future as my way of giving back to and supporting this movement. And I've already started that in volunteering with a troop back in Chicago. Overall, I left the conference incredibly inspired and incredibly proud to be a Girl Scout. I was able to connect with scouts from around the country, hear from wonderfully inspiring women, and experience real-world business procedures on a large scale. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity and for all of the opportunities I have had as a Girl Scout that have truly shaped me into the person that stands before you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Addison. Again, that just brings chills. I mean, you can really see the impact of what, not only that convention experience, but the whole Girl Scout program has as girls leave and enter young adulthood. And Addison, we promise, she was very gracious in her remarks. We called her and Phoebe limbo girls. And the unfortunate thing was GSUSA didn't quite have plans because obviously these young women had left high school, were over 18 years of age, and so GSUSA didn't quite, know how to handle girls that had formally left the program and were young adults. And we're going to work very hard to make sure that, and they, as you can tell, they did use their time beautifully, and were able to experience the convention, but they did that on their own. It wasn't as well orchestrated as what our younger girls had. So our next speaker is Maya Watts. And Maya, if you'll come up and share your experiences.
Good morning, everyone. I am Maya Watts, one of this year's National Girl Delegates. I'm a senior from Troop 75243. Last year, I had the privilege of attending the Girl Scout National Convention that occurs every triennium. This year, it was in Salt Lake City, and it lasted a duration of 4 days, from October 16th to the 19th. The other girl delegates and I participated in two aspects of the convention: the Girl Scout National Council meetings and the Girl Scout Leadership Institute. The Girl Scout National Council meetings were where the delegates from each council and the executives from Girl Scouts of the United States discussed proposals. We discussed 3 proposals this year: the flexibility of dues and registration, the reporting relationship of the Chief Financial Officer, and the role of past presidents. All the proposals were passed, and some were amended slightly to improve the wording. The Girl Scout Constitution was then amended accordingly. The Girl Scout National Council meeting was an interesting experience because I had a chance to see Girl Scouts as a nonprofit organization. It caused me to realize that an extremely large amount of work is put into bringing Girl Scouts to fruition, to make it a smooth experience for all the girls and leaders. I have the newfound respect for the process of making Girl Scouts as great as it is, and I'm honored to be a part of making it better for everyone. In the meetings, we did not only discuss proposal. We also had a portion where we discussed how to emphasize the outdoor experience in Girl Scouts. I was interested in this portion because I was upset about the closing of camp in the spring. I wanted to see what Girl Scouts was doing about these issues on a national level. I discovered that our council was not alone and that many councils have struggled with encouraging older girls to participate in outdoor activities. Girl Scouts is now creating new outdoor badges for daisies, brownies, juniors, seniors, and ambassadors. I am excited to see the change in Girl Scouts right before my eyes. Hopefully, these new badges will cause the Scouts to be eager to go outside. The National Council meeting was an amazing experience. I had the chance to see Girl Scouts goes much further than our individual troops in our council. It is an entire movement. The National Council meeting also made me come to the realization that Girl Scout is not perfect. There are many excellent parts of Scouting, but there is always room for improvement. The second aspect that I participated in at the convention was the Girl Scout Leadership Institute, or GSLI. In GSLI, we plan take action projects that we will implement when we returned home. All of the girls chose an issue to focus on. My issue was the education of girls in science, engineering, technology, and math. Through GSLI, I had a better idea about what I wanted to do for my Gold Award, which I plan on doing this fall. It will focus on making girls more enthusiastic about the sciences. Also, in GSLI, I heard inspiring words from speakers like Elizabeth Smart and Tara Redtrand. Their words inspired me to make a change in my community and eventually the world by increasing enthusiasm for Scouting. Overall, the National Convention was a great experience. It gave me the opportunity to discover, connect, and take action. I want to make the world a better place, starting with my Gold Award, and I cannot wait for the next convention in 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. And I heard both Heather and Maya say they're going for the gold, so we're going to look for seeing that. And our last speaker, a girl delegate who attended the convention, was Simone Woodard. And Simone, if you would come up and make your remarks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Simone Woodard from Ambassador Troop 43550, and I have the privilege of speaking with you today. My experience as a Girl Scout has been amazing. From Mackinac Honor Guards to national delegacy, it has all been a great time. Last year, my mom and I heard about the national delegate position. At first, I wasn't going to apply, but after a couple talks with my mom and my troop leader, I decided to go for it. The feeling when I found out I had been elected was almost surreal. First, I was a national delegate, and then I had the opportunity to go to Salt Lake City, Utah. Utah was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. As a delegate, I got to express my opinion to the National Council as well as other girl delegates. I felt as though what I had to say made a difference in the world of Girl Scouting. I felt as though my voice was actually heard. Not only was I a delegate, I was in GSLI as well. GSLI stands for Girl Scout Leadership Institute. In the GSLI program, I learned about perfecting my ideas for my Discover and Take Action projects, which is the first step for going for the gold, an award that I plan to earn. I also got the opportunity to listen to amazing women speak to me about their experiences, such as Dr. Tara Trent and Miss Allison Levine. Also, in the GSLI program, I met so many girls from all over the country, some girls which I still talk to. I never thought I would have as much in common with these girls as I did. Overall, it was a great experience, one that I would encourage others to go for, and one that if I could ever experience again, I would. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. And I'm again thrilled you're going to go for your Gold Award. So I want to thank all four of our young women speakers today for sharing their convention experiences with us. And remember, you all, gave, with the Girl Scout pledge, your pledge to Heather, that you would, if you're working with girls or even if you're not, that you would consider coming to the 2017 National Convention, which is really, for all extents and purposes, going to be in our backyard in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, that's about a 3.5-hour drive, so it's very, very accessible. And I think the girls have shared with you, it is a life-changing experience, and I think one that certainly helps to inspire you to continue with the great work that you're doing. And again, it just warms my heart to hear the inspiration and the impact that experience has had on the girls who participated. And so our next speaker that I would like to introduce is our treasurer, Diane Young, who is also chair of the Finance Committee. And she is a speaker who has the beautiful knack of making what could be a very tiresome and boring subject interesting and intelligible. So, Diane?
That's a tough bar to, which one? Okay, great. Thank you. Well, it's hard to follow those young women, so let me start by adding I'm looking for an intern in my office this summer, junior high school, downtown Rochester, if anyone's interested. So thank you. As you know, to put on all these wonderful programs, we do have to have financial stability. So as boring as this is, it is a very critical part of the organization. I'd first like to start by announcing that Denise Minnelletti, who last year at this time was our interim CFO, is now our full-time permanent CFO. And Denise, can you stand and be acknowledged? And we're very lucky to have her. She's been with Girl Scouts for 12 years, so it was wonderful to be able to promote from within the organization. I'd also like to recognize the Finance Committee. If you guys could stand, I know there's several members here in the room. You could just stand, and Elaine, yeah, wake up. I know, it's real boring. Yeah, please stand. And all really super difficult questions you can direct to them. Okay, so we have, we've been over the last few years going through our challenges. Some of them were managing a 6 to 9 month operating reserve, which makes sure that we can ride through any challenges. And of course, this year we did have some challenges. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we had a no deficiency audit. So a CPA firm comes in and audits all our financials. They reported to us that our accounting staff, led by Denise Minnelletti, was very wonderful to work with, and they gave us an unconditional great review. Why that's important to all of you is that the grant funders and that when they look at whether or not they're going to give us money or donate, want to make sure that when they give money, it is to a stable organization that takes care of things. So that's very important for us. The other big thing that we have been working on is, of course, the plan, the pension plan, terminating it, funding it, and getting that off of our books, and that Rhonda Orr has been leading the charge on that, as well as our former CFO has been under contract to help us with the transition, Bonnie Ray has. So that should be done this year, and that was a lot of meetings, a lot of work, very technical, so I want to thank everyone. So that should be done by this summer. So where does our money come from? We're kind of showing you the comparisons from last year's fiscal year to this fiscal year. For those of you who are new in the room, and the young ladies, our fiscal year, or when we close our books for our financial, is at the end of September, not the end of the year. So at the end of September, we had in money coming in, it was a little over $8.7 million, and that's from selling cookies, from grants, and other operations. Operating expenses, that's all the salaries, the camps, things like that, was $9.3 million. So we had a loss from operations of $620,000. A lot of that is what we call depreciation. When you buy something, we don't get to just subtract it off our books right away 100%. Sometimes we have to take a little bit each year, and that's called depreciation. So when we put that back in the number, it's not really cash that went out of our pocket. That was $788,000. We actually had $168,000 positive. So that's pretty good, considering. So we'll move on here. This is just showing you the trend over the last few years for our financial results. Now this is looking at our assets and liabilities, our balance sheet. So we have over $10 million in cash and investments. Other assets, which would be your buildings, your property, we have a little over $11 million for a total of $21,519,000 in assets. You'll notice that they're kind of changing. As we sell property, it gets taken off the property line, which is illiquid, and put into the cash and investments, so it becomes liquid. So the lines have been shifting a little bit over the last couple years. Your current liabilities are just every year it's a little different on September 30th, but that's things like outstanding payroll contracts, the bills that are owed at that time. Our long-term liabilities are primarily that pension plan. And you can see that number varied greatly year to year, depending on where the stock market was, depending on how many people we thought were going to be retiring in that. So that is what's going to be changing this coming year. So where does the money come from? 72% of our revenue comes from a cookie sale. So you can see how critically important a well-executed cookie sale is. The fall sale only represents about 4%, so we have been looking over the years of how to diversify our funding. That's by going out for grants and corporate sponsorships, and that's one of the areas we're very focused on. The series and events, that's our programs and camp revenue. Of the money that comes in for series and events and camp revenue, 82% of it is from camps and 18% is from the services and events. And as Dara had mentioned earlier, over 50,000 girls attended the series and events and camps this year, so that's fabulous. Merchandise is the council shops. We have one in Detroit, Clinton Township, White Lake, and other, like when we're selling out here. So we make money off of that, but primarily the biggest money comes from the council shops that operate. 37% comes from Detroit and 32% from Clinton Township, just to give you some perspective. So where's the money go? So 56% of the money goes directly to the troop support. See, 25% of our money goes to camping and properties. So you can see why when you have very few girls going, but yet 25% of our money is going to camp properties, why we had to take a very close look at that over the last few years. The management, general, and fundraising is a total of 11%, which means we're a very lean, efficient running organization. And the only way we can do that is because of all of you. Girl Scouts is a volunteer-led organization, and it's amazing how much gets done by the volunteers. So we have to thank you for that, because I couldn't imagine being a corporation trying to run, do all the things we do with this budget. So when you sell a box of cookies, where does that money go? So $1.22 goes to troop support. Of course, we have to pay for the cookie itself. We've negotiated some pretty good contracts with the cookie baker. So 94 cents of that $4 is the actual cookie cost. Camping properties is 59 cents out of every box. And then, of course, the troop gets proceeds and rewards. The little tiny sliver unpaid cookie balances, that has dropped dramatically over the last few years. That's when a troop doesn't turn in the money for their cookies or some other activity that's not always pleasant to talk about, fraud or something like that happens. And that has shrunk considerably over the last few years because of the accounting department and the leadership of the management team of really zeroing in on this and, you know, being very aggressive so we don't have these problems going on and on. So that just means more money comes back that we can make sure are going to the girls. And then fundraising costs and things like that. I did want to mention, this has come up recently, that I guess there's been some questions as to how the actual rewards and things like that happen, and the reasons behind the way we have to do some of the Girl Scout benefits for when they achieve certain levels of selling Girl Scout cookies. We are a nonprofit organization, means we do not pay sales tax or other forms of taxes. To maintain that status, we have to follow very, very specific rules. If we violate those, we could lose our tax exempt status by the IRS. And so I know there's been some pushback as to how we do some of the reward programs and that recently. And some councils across the country hadn't followed these guidelines, and I believe one lost their tax exempt status. Okay, now I hope they put this in here. I wanted to prepare a little thing. For us, that would be over $600,000 if we had to pay taxes on our cookies. That's a lot of cookies to have to sell to make up, to have to pay taxes. So let me tell you, as a fiduciary of this organization, that when the management team or the staff are telling you, hey, we have to make these changes, or this is why, or we're going to lose our status, keep that number in your mind, okay? Thank you. Looking ahead, we have what the Finance Committee and the team are working on is, of course, again, not to hammer this into everyone, but we're going to be terminating that pension plan. The reason I bring that up and want to stress that is next year when we look at these financials, they're going to look a little different. Because one, we're not going to have a big liability, but we're also going to have to spend some money off those cash and investments to achieve that goal. But it will, it'll reduce a whole committee. Won't have to meet all the time. It'll reduce this accounting staff's time, and it will, you know, just take a huge monkey off our back. Sort of like paying off one of your large credit card balances that have been driving you crazy. You took it out of the bank and you paid it, but it's that monkey's off your back. So we're going to get that off. We also will be reviewing all the fall vendor contracts to make sure, we do get to look at them, vet them as best we can. But apparently, we're seriously going to be reviewing the nut and candy and the magazine. And then we continue to work on a long-range financial plan. So as these properties come off our books, as these large liabilities, we want to make sure that we're funneling the resources to where they should be, which is on the girls and developing the Girl Leadership Program. Any questions that you want to direct to my team on the Finance Committee? No, I'll answer anything, really, seriously. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Oh, yeah? Denise, when's the fall sale? Well, it's probably like by May, isn't it? I'm sorry? April. So we have them come in and they, we'll have several vendors present, show us what they're that. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. And that's it's something that we have looked at over the years about taking off. But because of the way the transition when we raised the prices on cookies, we were a little afraid that our cookie sales would really drop, so we didn't want to take that off. The other reason that it is somewhat helpful, it is an optional fundraising tool, is it allows some of the troops to learn some skills in the fall to prep them for the spring sale of the cookies. So some troops like it because it kind of gets them in the mindset. But it is obviously something we have looked at, and so we were kind of pleased and surprised when the magazine, which we were ready to cross that off for next year, and now we're like, wow, it's so easy, and it doesn't take all the staff time. So, we want to diversify because you can see if I have to check with my boss here. She says okay. This was, I know there's some like shortage of Thin Mints, which, and things like that. And all these, we had a bakery issue, that was quite a shock and surprise. Now, because we were financially able to do so, we bought 80 or 90% of our cookies up front. Some councils didn't have all those cash reserves on hand to be able to do that. So they only bought 50% or whatever, and some have had to delay or cancel their sale. Could you imagine if we had to delay or cancel our sale? Now, one of the things that, because we, again, under this great management team, we're able to pay for our cookies early, we get an early discount for paying for them. So we save even more money. So when you're financially fit and able to do things, it allows you to ride out any shockers that can come along the way. Anyone who's run a business knows you will always, always have a challenge every year. There will never, ever be a perfect year. And young ladies, as you go out into your adult life, you will always face challenges. And you want to just be prepared for them as best you can and to be able to ride through them. And that's why the financial stability is so important to keep going. But back to your original question, we'd like to not have to have 75% of our revenue decided on one sale a year. These polar vortexes keep zapping down on us in February. And I share your pain because I stood out on a road frozen in a Thin Mint costume too. So I know how hard it is to sell cookies when it's minus 20 degrees and no one will they'll barely even crack their window to throw $4 at you while they take so I share your pain. So, but we would like to have more diversified, so we're just a little hesitant to completely nix it just yet. Other questions? Yep. Right. I know. For the April 25th meeting.
Okay, so let me repeat that. So the way we do our contracts is that we look for broad representation, and so we want a troop leader, we want a girl, and who else from each district, and a product sales volunteer from each of the districts, and you will be invited to come and do that thing on April 25th, and we'll go into Sugar Shock that day because we'll be trying the stuff. We'll be looking at both magazine vendors, and we'll be looking at both snack and cookie vendors. Now, my vote is not going to be for one of them, but seriously, what can I say? We are going to have, everybody are going to look, we'll talk to them, we'll see their contracts, and then we'll have a discussion about that. Cookie contract is not up until next year, and so they've got another year to see what they can do. So we'll see about their performance. There'll be an application process, so you'll be having that on the website, send that online. How's the application process? Okay, so it'll go out by an email. I just got a time over sign flashed at me.
So I guess I'm going over. So if it's a real pertinent financial question to the financial statements, I'll let you ask it. If it's cookie related or product sale, there she is at the end of the room there. Is there a question about the financial statements? Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane, and again, thank you to the Finance Committee. Every time I hear Diane speak, and I hope you have the same feeling, is that, this council from a financial stewardship perspective is very well taken care of. And I hope you got an appreciation for, some of the advantages that brings to us that actually impact the kinds of things that you do as well. So now we are going to move on. This is why you're all here as delegates. So I'm going to turn the podium over to Pete Keating, the chair of the Board Development Committee, and he is going to be presenting the Board Development Committee report, and then we will actually get on with the motions at hand that you'll be voting on.
Okay, time for a little group activity. So everybody, it's been a long day. I know you've been sitting there, so let's just do a little warm up before we vote. So follow my instructions. Everybody lean to the left, lean to the right, stand up, sit down, stomp your feet with all your might. All right, thank you. So I will propose to you the slate that we'll vote on. Before I do that, I'd like to introduce the members of the Board Development Committee that are here present. We have in the left over here, Francine Peguillas, and to the right, Heather Rivard, Jocelyn Gironde, I don't think she made it today, and Melody Davis and Ann Doyle also could not attend. So it's been my privilege to work with them. I want to just point out that Francine is leaving after probably 30 years of service to the Girl Scouts. She's now going to stand down from all committee work, but I know in her heart she'll still be actively participating, and she's been my personal mentor, so I want to thank Francine. It's been my privilege to serve on the Board Development Committee, and we've worked very hard on giving you a single slate that we think represents the needs of the council. So if you look on the workbook, page 27, for the nominating motion for the single slates, and I'm going to ask the nominees to please stand and remain standing as I call your name, and I'll ask you to hold the applause until everyone is introduced. So the Board Development Committee nominates for officers, Board of Directors, 2 to be elected for the 3-year term 2015 to 2018 for Board Chair Heather Rivard and for Board Vice Chair Kathy Ossian. Directors at large to the Board of Directors, 5 to be elected for 3-year terms 2015 to 2018, Denise Calisi, April Donaldson, Candace Foreman, Jumana Jude, and Maureen Stapleton. Director at large to the Board of Directors, 1 to be elected to an unexpired term from 2014 to 2015, Sarah Popovic. The Board Development Committee, non-board members, 2 to be elected for 3-year term 2015 to 2018, Melody Davis, who's unable to attend, and Lisa Morris. is here. Madam Chairman, these are the persons selected by the Board Development Committee for nomination in today's election. We thank all of you for accepting the nomination and by agreeing to serve the council in these important positions. So let's give a round of applause, and the nominees can now be seated. Are there any questions about the Board Development Committee process or the slate? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete, and also thanks to the Board Development Committee for a job well done. And again, I also want to personally acknowledge Francine Pegues, because she was a mentor to me when I first got involved in Girl Scout governance almost 16 years ago. So, you know, you've just been an icon of the Girl Scout movement. So now on to business. The workbook confirming the nominating committee slate was mailed to everybody on February 20th, 2015, 30 days before the annual meeting. The bylaws require that additional nominations must be made in writing at least 10 days prior to the annual meeting, but there were no nominations received from delegates, therefore we will proceed with the election. So our bylaws require a ballot vote unless the election is uncontested, in which case the vote may be taken by voting card. So since this election is uncontested, you should be able to find, you all have your yellow voting cards. And so we're going to use these to vote on the slate. And actually, since I am a voter, I guess I didn't get a voting card. So I'll just have to raise my hand. Okay. So is everybody ready to vote? You all have your voting cards except me. Okay. So all of those in favor of the slate as presented by the Board Development Committee, please raise your yellow voting card and hold them up high so that our tellers can see. Okay, thank you. You may lower your card. Those opposed, please raise your yellow voting card. Okay, I don't see any. So there is a majority in the affirmative, and I declare that the slate has been elected. So we're going to go ahead and do an installation process here. So would those of you that were elected today who are new to the Board of Directors, Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan, please stand. So Candace, Jemiah, and Sarah. Okay. At this time, I would ask, I want to welcome you to the GSSEM board and thank you for your contributions. And the girls will now present to each of you a Girl Scout membership pin. Okay. I'm sorry, April. I didn't know you were here, so April Donaldson, who has also joined the board. Okay, so stay standing, please. Now I would ask all those that were elected today, those that are continuing on the board or the Board Development Committee, as well as council delegates and alternates, okay, because remember all of you have been elected for a cycle, to please stand. So there should be a lot of people standing at this point. And we would like to thank all of you for your continued support of Girl Scouting. Okay, you may all be seated. So again, congratulations to all of you who were just elected, as well as those of you who are going to continue to serve. And now it is very, very hard for me to believe, but I am standing here at a very bittersweet moment. And this will be the last time that I will have the opportunity to address you as the chair of the Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan. And when I look back, I mean, time has so much flown by. You know, the 6 years have gone by in a wink. And as I mentioned, I've been involved, and I was counting this morning, the number of years that I've been involved in Girl Scout governance. And it's been 16 years, of which 13 of those I have had the honor and privilege of serving as the board chair, first of the Legacy Detroit Council, and then for the past 6 years for this council. And I have to tell you, it's been a lot of work. Many of you know that, anyone involved in Girl Scouts. There have been very, very frustrating times. I'd have to say, when I think of realignment, that was probably one of the most difficult things that we went through. But there just has been tremendous joy. And so this has really been a labor of love for me. And truly, with all, like we all know with Girl Scout experiences, I have learned, I have grown, but I have become a better leader and a better person as a result of what I have been through these past 3 years. But it does bring to mind to me the remarks of a woman who I greatly admire, who was a leader in the Girl Scout movement back in in fact, she was our national CEO back in 1976 through 1990, a woman by the name of Frances Hesselbaum. And so many of you have been around long enough to know Frances. I had the opportunity many, many years ago to hear her speak. When she retired from her role as the CEO of Girl Scouts, she went on to work with the management guru Peter Drucker, and Frances is still alive today and is still doing amazing things in the area of leadership. And when I had the chance to hear her speak, she was talking about, all of the attributes of leadership and so on. But she said something back then that really made an impact on me. And she said, the last act of a leader is to leave well. And so today, I am leaving well. I look back at what this council has accomplished, and again, you should all feel this because you have played a strong role in this, and I have never been prouder. You've heard today, and it's just we have come so far from where we were 6 years ago, when we were 4.5 kind of disparate councils trying to figure out how we were going to come together and how we were going to do what we all very much cared about, and that was to serve girls. And so we have made tremendous progress. And so I do want to acknowledge a few groups of folks that have really made this happen. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge my fellow board members. I serve on a number of boards in the nonprofit, the for-profit, and this group of board members are the finest that I've seen. You have people that bring their time, their talent, their commitment, their expertise, all unpaid, to help to support this organization. And that's why, despite some of the challenges that we have, when you look at this organization, we are in a good place. And so it has been an honor and a privilege to work with this group of people. And although we are having some change in the board, you met the new board members today, and some of these people I know well because they've been on committees, others are new, but I have every confidence that they are going to be exceptional board members because we have an exceptional process in place that ensures that we recruit, that we orient, and we bring on board people that are truly committed to the organization. And it's the legacy of that process that is going to continue to make this organization strong. The new leadership, you'll be hearing from your newly elected board chair, Heather Rivard, in a moment. But Heather is an exceptional professional. She's an experienced leader, but she also has a very diverse Girl Scout background. So she knows this organization. She's been at the operational level, she's been at the governance level, and I can assure you that she is committed and passionate and will lead this organization to even greater places. And she's being assisted by the new vice chair, Kathy Ocean, who again, very experienced leader, knows the operations of Girl Scouts. So you have two very fine leaders. They're going to continue to be assisted by many experienced board members. You'll get to hear Diane again next year. She does an amazing job with the finances. Rhonda is continuing on in her role as secretary. So I feel very, very comfortable that you've got a fabulous board and a fabulous leadership process in place. The woman who leads the operations of this organization on a day-to-day basis, your CEO, Denise Dalrymple, is one of the finest in the business. You know, Denise is energy, but and fabulous leadership, but she's got a couple things that oftentimes you may not see in leaders that are good at executing day to day. She's a visionary. You know, when she first joined us 6 years ago, she very quickly grasped the organization and could see where she needed to take us. And she's a change agent. And change, we all know change is hard and change is controversial, but she has weathered that change. She has inspired people to follow her. And I tell you, she has a staff that is outstanding. When you look at the likes of Denise Minoletti, Dara Munson, you know, Michael Baird, you know, Angela Benitez, her staff and the directors that she has on board. I mean, these are committed and very talented people that inspire me and leave me confident that this organization is going to be able to weather the difficult change. And then, of course, there's all you, the volunteers. And as I have been in the organization for the many years I have, I continue to be astounded at the commitment, the time, the energy, the number of hours that our adult volunteers who believe in this cause, believe in girls, will give of themselves in the organization. And I'm thrilled because after the closure of this meeting, we're going to have the afternoon to celebrate all of the wonderful accomplishments that our volunteers have done. You know, and then finally, girls, there's you. And I tell you, I get goosebumps when I hear the likes of the young ladies that came up and talk about what Girl Scouting has meant to them and what it has inspired them and motivated them to do. And, you know, frankly, that's why we're here. And so when I look at all total, I look at where we've come, I look at a financially sound organization, I look at an organization with great people, I look at an organization that has reached out. A couple of the things that I am so proud of are some of the partnerships now that we are developing with other organizations. Dara mentioned Camp Moxie. We have a fabulous relationship with the Michigan Women's Foundation. We have a fabulous relationship with the Women's Officials Network. You know, we work very well with a number of our corporate groups. I mean, DTE has been a great friend. The Ford Foundation is a great friend. As we continue to reach out and partner with other organizations, that just makes us stronger. And it gives us the ability to have more people help us with our mission. So clearly today, I feel like I am leaving well. Now, I am stepping down as board chair, and I am actually, you know, it's a bittersweet moment, but after 16 years of governance, I think I'm ready. But I'm not leaving Girl Scouts. And so I am happy to say that my next chapter of my Girl Scout life, and some of you know this, and some of you this might be a bit of a surprise, but I am very, very passionate about the Gold Award and ensuring that our girls go for the gold. About 3 years ago, my family set up an endowment to fund the Young Woman of Distinction Scholarship Award. And we did that for two reasons. And actually today you're going to be hearing from our third Young Woman of Distinction, Jacqueline Casario. And the reason that we did that was twofold. One is we wanted to recognize an outstanding young woman who did a significant project that made a difference, and in these cases, not just to their community, but oftentimes make a difference in the world. But the second reason we did that is we wanted to inspire and motivate girls to reach farther, to go for the gold, but to dream big with their project. And so I am happy to say that my retirement project, along with my retiring board vice chair, Elisa Morse, working in partnership with the many volunteers, the Gold Award Committee, and the many volunteers that support the Gold Award. And we want to work to try to develop strategies that elevate the Gold Award, that try to inspire more girls to go for the gold, that try to help girls who start on the project and then for whatever reason, don't finish. And it tries to make sure that the kinds of projects that our girls are doing really are big and significant and sustainable. And then most importantly, to make sure that we're not only recognizing the girls who achieve their goal, but that we're, shouting that from mountaintops to give recognition to not only our girls, but to the council and to the whole Girl Scout movement. I mean, my objective is that, just like everybody seems to understand what the Boy Scout Eagle Award is, there won't be questions on what's this gold award when girls are applying to college or when they're applying for jobs. And so that's really, where we need to get. So in closing, I guess I'd like to say it has truly been, a privilege and an honor to have served as board chair. It's been a joy, and as I mentioned before, I have grown, I have learned, and I'm a better person because of it. But again, I do feel that this council is in good hands. I am leaving well. And so with that, I would like to introduce to you your new board chair, Heather Rivard. And Heather will be making some remarks, and I think you're going to find that she is going to be a wonderful leader and take this organization to new levels. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask everyone to join me in a standing ovation for Nancy, but I'm not surprised that it happened on its own, and glad to see that. I first just want to say how honored I am to be given the opportunity to serve as the board chair for the Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan. I've been on the board now for 6 years under Nancy's leadership, and it's truly, as Nancy said, and it's amazing group of both men and women who are clearly dedicated to the passion and passionate about our shared mission for Girl Scouting. I've also been a member of Girl Scouts myself for nearly 20 years now, as Nancy alluded to. My first 10 years were as a Girl Scout. And I honestly didn't realize it at the time, but Girl Scouting truly changed my life and truly helped me in learning how to be a leader, which has served me well in my career and in life in general as I've moved forward. Although these words weren't necessarily being used at the time, I feel like I became a woman with greater courage, greater confidence, and greater character than I otherwise would have become without my time in Girl Scouts. I have many great memories of working on various badges through the years, selling cookies, and my time spent serving as honor guard on Mackinac Island. Although I must share, one year we all got food poisoning, the entire barracks. And I would not have wanted to be the troop leader. That's all. It was bad enough as a girl. I also have great memories working with my own daughter and her troop selling cookies and being the cookie mom. I'm actually one of those people who sadly loved being in the cold garage, sorting out cookies, and helping her understand the business aspects of what she was really doing besides just opening boxes and sorting them. And also working many cold cookie booths with her and her friends. The last thing I want to mention before I move on with the rest of the agenda is how truly blessed I feel to have had the opportunity to work with Nancy as our board chair. She is an amazing woman and an amazing leader. Her passion and dedication to Girl Scouting was evident in every single interaction I had with her and every board meeting that we had. I know that she'll still be very much involved in Girl Scouting, as she mentioned, but she leaves behind some very tough shoes to fill as the new board chair. And I hope that I can live up to be half of what she has been for this organization. So thank you again, Nancy. At this time, I'd like to also acknowledge the other board and board development committee members who are retiring. Can you please stand when I call your name? I'm going to start with Nancy Philippart, of course. James, I'm not sure if some of those folks are here. James Adsit, Jim DeFrancesco, and Lisa Morse, I know, is also here. And then from the Board Development Committee, Ann Doyle, Jocelyn Gian Grande, and then Francine Pegues, who I have to mention also mentored me. That's 3 people now that have mentioned her today. Hopefully she'll still give me her phone number as I continue in this new role. And we would like to thank you and present you with this token of appreciation for your service to Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan, which Chris is passing out right now. Could we have a round of applause? Thank you. Want to add my personal thanks and appreciation to all those who we just mentioned are retiring from the board and the board development committees. It has been my great privilege and pleasure to work with each of them. And in addition, I congratulate and look forward to working with all of those who were just elected today, as well as those that I've been working with for the last 6 years. Now we're going to show a quick video on the young woman of distinction that Nancy mentioned.
And I knew ever since I was like the first grade I wanted to get my gold award. I was really inspired too, but I wasn't really sure of the topic, and I kind of really researched and tried to brainstorm one. And this boy right here, Cullen Happy, he's a year older than me, and he attends Brother Rice, which is the brother school to Marion, my high school. And he committed suicide on my birthday. And I did not know him, and I wasn't close with him, but that was really sad. And I've always been fascinated by people and how the human brain works. And suicide and just the roots of it, and depression, people who have trouble coping, that's always been intriguing to me. So then a couple months later, my St. Hugo classmate Javi's older brother Morgan Adams committed suicide. And that was perhaps even a bit more sad because I actually knew him. I would see him at church, and I just was not expecting that. So I decided I wanted to do a project on suicide and how to prevent it and how to cope. Because I have a lot of friends who are depressed, and yeah, that might just be a normal part of being in high school, but I would never want anyone else that I know to commit suicide because that is just so tragic. So my community need was to provide resources for teen depression and suicide prevention. So at my school, we had A and B lunches, and I had a board. And I would sit at this table, and on the table I had a banner, right here. And I had Cullen Happy's name on it, because a lot of girls in my school were close to him, and they were friends with him, they go to church with him. And I think that by putting his name on my board, it made the table more approachable. Because suicide is a really serious topic. And by seeing his name, and knowing that was their dear friend, and who no one knew was even depressed, that motivated them to come up to me at lunch and sign my banner. And what my project was I had this banner out, and by signing my banner, the students were pledging to be a safe voice. And what this means is that if they had a friend who was depressed or was feeling sad and may have talked about maybe ending their life, that they would take this card right here, which I have. This is a suicide prevention hotline. And it has a number, and it has symptoms all in here of someone who might have thoughts of suicide. So they would call this number, and they would say, listen, I have a friend who is depressed, and they would take it from there. Because as high schoolers, we don't know how to, that's not our job to tell people, give them counseling. We never went to college for that, we don't have a degree in that. So all that being a safe voice really means is that you would take this card along with, I had about 6 handouts, I have a copy of them in here, I'll show it to you when I'm talking. And every handout was individually seated, and I didn't tell people to take them. People really went up to my table, and they would take the handout. They were warning signs if you have a friend who's depressed, or I just went through a bad breakup, or my parents are getting divorced and I'm not feeling well. And people really came up to me who I thought were popular or partiers who I never would have guessed, who were just seemed so perfect. They would come up to my table and take these handouts. And that was just really interesting to me. And that's a good thing.
I would like to introduce you to the amazing woman that you just met in the video. Jacqueline, can you please come up and say a few words about how Girl Scouting has impacted your life?
All right, good morning, Board of Directors, Council members, and all Girl Scout volunteers. I'm honored to be here today as the 2014 Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan Young Women of Distinction. My special thanks to Mrs. Caroline Feathers and Mrs. Pat Alsop for their support and encouragement during my Gold Award process. It all began in first grade at St. Hugo of the Hills School. My Girl Scout career started as a brownie. Back then, we had so many girls that wanted to get involved with Scouting that we had to have 2 separate troops, with 22 brownies in each troop. I loved being a brownie and looked forward to our meetings filled with crafts, field trips, and friends. It was fun with a purpose, as we earned our merit badges and learned along the way. It was an easy decision to stick with Scouting. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this wonderful group? As I rose through the ranks of Scouting and achieved my bronze and silver awards, my positive sense of self, critical thinking skills, and problem solving were all being acquired along the way. I was becoming a leader in the classroom and on the playground. And when it was time to join the forensics team in middle school, the answer was, why not? I can do this. Girl Scouts had prepared me to say yes and accept many new challenges with confidence and courage. I always knew that I would go for the gold, so when I was a freshman at Marion High School, I began to think seriously of a Gold Award project. My biggest challenge was finding a topic I was passionate about. After searching for a Gold Award project for almost a year, something happened in the summer of 2012 that shocked me. A young man who would have been a junior at a neighboring high school took his life on August 4th, 2012, my 15th birthday. The boy was handsome, smart, athletic, and popular. No one had any clue as to why he would take his own life. His death rocked my community and my soul. Soon after his death, I began to hear of other suicides in Oakland County. One boy was the homecoming king and scholar who I had never met, but his name was Michael. There were beginning to be too many Michaels out there. My Gold Award project now had a title, Hope and Help. Teen depression and suicide prevention became my focus for the next 2 years. I decided to break through the social stigma of mental illness by creating an awareness campaign of hope and help. To promote mental health literacy, I set up a mental health information display fair during lunch hours at Marion High School. Students could gather pamphlets and brochures on teen mental health and suicide prevention. I also displayed a large banner on behalf of the student who took his own life in August 2012. Marion students were asked to sign the banner as a pledge to be a safe voice for a friend in need and were given a wallet card with the warning signs of suicide and a prevention hotline number. It was encouraging to see so many people sign up to pledge and support one another. I think it shows that young people truly do care about each other and we want to be equipped to make a difference whenever we can. Marion High School will now participate annually every September in National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. I am in the process of passing the torch to another student in my Honor Code Club who will continue my mental health awareness efforts once I graduate in May. The leadership skills I learned from completing my Gold Award were amazing. I learned to say yes by being an advocate for a cause I felt extremely passionate about and taking action, not simply just being a bystander. I reached out and worked with members of my community such as Common Ground and Building Better Families Through Action. Also, I took my mental health fair on the road by sharing what I did at my own school with other schools in Oakland County, such as Notre Dame Prep and U of D Jesuit High School. Skills-wise, I learned the art of a successful interview by being prepared, asking the correct questions, taking good notes, and writing a thank you letter. It's important to speak up, not be shy, and ask the difficult questions. I truly believe that if even one person was touched by my mental health display, my project was a success. Perhaps I'll never know who that person was, but that's okay. I'm here today to encourage all young women in Scouting to stick with it and go for the gold. With Scouting, anything is possible and you really can change the world. Ask yourself, if not now, when? If not me, who? Go for your dream, make a difference, and leave your footprint so others can follow you. My Gold Award project gave me so much new confidence. I could write and talk about my experiences in my college essays and interviews. I knew I had made an impact and I couldn't wait to share my story. In closing, I'd like to share a brief essay I wrote while applying to the University of Michigan last fall. I was asked to describe a community that I belong to. Many girls quit their Scouting career by middle school. I, however, am still a Girl Scout. Our community is small but strong. In first grade, there were 22 girls in Troop 298. Now that number has dwindled to 3. So why am I still a part of this group? I have always considered myself a leader. but the coveted positions of student council offices seem to effortlessly be rewarded to the popular girls. In contrast, the Girl Scout Gold Award does not come with a vote. Any girl who has determination and courage can go for the gold, the highest achievement in scouting. At the Gold Award ceremony last May, I was surprised and honored to be chosen as the 2014 Young Woman of Distinction. As the audience clapped for me, I realized that although the number of remaining girls in my troop may be small, the honor is huge. My 12-year career with Girl Scouts officially ends this year, but I know in my heart that I will always belong to this community.
Thank you. Ooh. Yikes. We're going to need a different setup next year. Thank you, Jacqueline, for your very inspiring message. As the mother, actually, of a teenage daughter who suffers from depression, I find your project very inspiring. Now, moving on in the agenda, we move on to new business. And so I need to ask the floor if there's any new business. And may I remind you that the corporate management of the council is under the guidance and direction of the board of directors, and any motion covering the corporate business and affairs shall be stated as a request to the board of directors. Is there any new business? Okay. No. It was mailed. Okay. I'm going to look at my parliamentarian here. Okay. Yes, I do need it. Thank you. Is there a second on the floor? Oh, sure. Should I repeat it or not? Go. Okay, I have the microphone. I'll repeat it for you. It says, I would like to make a motion that all Girl Scouts national alumni groups be considered their own troop and have their own separate community. And can you state your name and which district you're from as well? I'm sorry. Okay. And there was a second on the floor. And could I have your name and district as well? Okay, thank you. Any discussion from the floor? Yes. Can you please stand and state your name and district? Okay. So what's being set up here is that we're not sure if the national rules will allow this, and so we can take your motion under referral and advisement to the board, and then go back to the national to check with them. Any objection to us doing the referral to the National Council? Julianne? Yes, we will work, Denise will work on that clarification. Any other new business? Okay. So as we begin to wrap up the agenda, first I wanted to thank you all for coming today to the annual meeting. As some have already mentioned, it's hard to get out of bed so early on a Saturday morning. At least it was a little warmer out than I remember years past. As we are nearing the end of the agenda, I want to make a couple of reminders. First of all, I just want to point out again that there is a trophy out for display on the table outside, which was a trophy awarded to the Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan for the best 2014 choreographed unit as part of the 2014 Thanksgiving Parade. And as Dara mentioned, that was the third year in a row that the Girl Scouts have had that honor. I also want to ask that members fill out the meeting evaluation forms and drop them in the box on the way out of the meeting so that we can make sure we improve future meetings in any way that we need to. And also, last reminder that the volunteer recognition event and luncheon is immediately following this meeting. I think we do have to exit this room. Oh, sorry. It's set up in the next room over. So if you're part of and joining us for that event, it will be immediately after this. We will now have the closing flag ceremony conducted by the Girl Advisory Board. And Emma will come back up to the stage.
Girl Scouts attention. Please stand while we retire the flags. Color Guard advance. Color Guard, honor your flag. Color Guard, please retire the colors. Color Guard dismissed. Thank you.
Okay, on behalf of the council, I would like to thank all the girls for their fine work this morning. Since all of the business on the agenda has been completed, this meeting will be adjourned. The 6th annual meeting of the Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan is adjourned, and thank you again, everyone, for coming.